Today, we're going to talk fixing your airbrush needle. So recently, while I was using my PS289 airbrush, this thing right here, I've got it taken apart, I decided to finally deep clean. Well, during that process, I tried to put it in here. This is just dirty lacquer thinner. Is what I used to clean off my Badger airbrush or paint mixer. And I had the lid open because it's a squirt bottle. It's the old Mission Models acrylic thinner. So I dropped it down in there and I dropped it, but it was maybe, I don't know, a millimeter from the top or from the bottom. And I don't know if you can see, but the needle's bent. Let me see if I can get it to zoom in. Oh yeah, you can see that. Nice little bend on there. So I was kind of freaking out and I ordered a replacement, which is not a bad thing. It's always good to have a replacement on hand, but the problem is it won't be here for a couple of days and I may need this thing shortly. So I was kind of worried. I was like, man, I don't know if I'll be able to use this or whatnot. So I did some Googling, and apparently it is actually really simple to use just typical stuff. For instance, I'm using this cardboard, and I'll explain why, to straighten your needle and kind of also polish your needle. Now, you can buy all sorts of polishing compounds and whatnot for needles and polishing pads, and I do have some micro mesh stuff that I could probably use on this, but cardboard does a really good job of polishing metal. It may not be exactly perfect, but it is a good solution. So what you're going to do on this, let me get in here, you are going to take an angle where your airbrush starts, so you can see tapers down. So you want to do that and spin. You don't want to put a whole lot of pressure. Almost there. Couple more passes. So all I'm doing, I'm laying the needle down on the cardboard. You see how there's a gap. I'm lifting it up and twisting. And of course I'm applying, a little bit of downwards pressure, nothing major. So essentially what I'm doing is following the curvature of the airbrush. And spinning as I'm pulling. And as you can tell, so you lay it down where you need it. And you're getting a straight needle. Now, as you can see, a little bit of curvature at the tip. And I would say that after doing this a couple of times, because you're polishing your needle up, you'll get better flow. It's always recommended to kind of polish the needle before, even with a better airbrush. So if you're running across your hand, there's no snags. So the big thing too, you don't want to go against the little ridges. You can kind of see them on here. So with your cardboard, you want to go with those ridges. If you try and go like this, it's going to put little points of pressure. So when you're doing this, go in between them. So that way it also helps to conform the needle a little bit better. No more bent tip. It takes a little bit, but all I used was regular old cardboard. It was a piece of a shipping label. That's it. And no more bent needle. So it is a really simple thing, and there are tools out there, like Spray Gunner sells one. It is I think it's the Needle Air, but it is a sharpening kit for your needles, for your airbrush. And those are probably going to do a little bit better because it'll ensure that you keep the same angle. But there is, after sharpening this, I can free spin it in my finger on the tip, and there's no burrs, no catches, no nothing. There's a dark spot on the needle, but I could take like a polishing pad. We'll do some 6000 grit and just run it up my finger. But again, this is not something you necessarily need. You don't want to put a whole lot of pressure. Just want to polish it up. Even go next step to 8000. Again, just hold it at the angle. You're not putting any pressure. That's just going to ensure that you get a nice smooth needle. I'll even go up to 12,000. As you can see, look at all these little marks. That's from the needle. That is dirt and impurities. So I'm not pushing down. So like I'll do the middle. You see how it pushes in? I'm literally just holding it in place. It's sticking off the side because I'm holding it at the angle that it needs to be. That's it. And of course, because I'm turning it, now this needle is ready to go back in the airbrush. No more bent tip, no more anything like that. That is how to fix your needle for your airbrush. Just using some cardboard, a little bit of patience, and if you've got them, some micro mesh polishing pads. If not, you don't need them. I did it because I already had this out and I was fixing it. If you're not going to use polishing pads, I would at least use some like 3000 grit or 6000 grit sandpaper. I would say even 3000 grit is going to be way too coarse because you want to smooth the needle out. And if you start at 3000, then you have a lot of extra work to do. That's all there is to it. It is very simple, something anybody can do. I was nervous about it. Don't get me wrong, I went ahead and bought that, and it's always a good idea to have a backup. I know I've said this once before, but backups in this hobby are never a bad thing. So I will have the backup for here. In case this one ever messes up again, I can then swap it out, polish it up, whatnot. There's plenty of things that I can do. I can always work around the issues that arise. But that's all I have, guys. If you have any questions, drop a comment down below. Other than that, have a wonderful day. Bye.